My name is Anna, and I am here today to guide you through a 30-minute restorative practice. So if you are brand new to yoga, restorative practices are an opportunity for you to really quiet the mind. It's not a very physical practice. We're going to be on the mat a majority of the time, just kind of relaxing, getting into long, deep stretches, holding those stretches, maybe anywhere from a minute to 3 or 4 minutes. You always have the option to hold these poses longer, or you have the option to back out of any pose that doesn't feel right for your own body. So pay attention to what your own muscles, joints, bones are feeling, and honor that. Make sure you listen to your body and don't do anything that's going to cause yourself any harm. So for our restorative practice, I will be keeping track of the time on my watch, so you'll see me referring to my wristwatch just so that I know how long we've been in each pose. So we're going to need a few props. If you don't have yoga props, I'm going to show you what you could use to substitute. So first of all, we need 2 yoga blocks. Okay, these are foam blocks. If you don't have these, all you need to do is get some books, either a real thick book or stack 2 or 3 books together and wrap them in a towel. So those can be your yoga blocks. We'll need a strap. So this is kind of a woven yoga strap. If you don't have something like this, you can use a long belt or a long scarf. I would make sure it's not leather or plastic so that if you're putting tension on the belt, it doesn't snap. It's also good to have a blanket on hand. You can either have the blanket spread out onto your yoga mat or any surface that you're doing your practice on, or you can take your blanket and roll it up into a little tube like this. And this serves as some cushion and support either under your lower back or under your neck, under your knees, wherever you think you might need a little extra cushion. That's what your blanket would be here for. And then finally, my favorite is the yoga bolster pillow. Okay, so this is a pretty dense, firm pillow. Okay, if you don't have something like this, what I would suggest is taking 2 or 3 of your own home pillows, maybe a bed pillow, something that's pretty long, about the size of your torso and hips. Stack them together and again, roll them in a blanket, or even just take several blankets and roll them so that you have some firm support from your bolster pillow. That being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So make sure you're in comfortable clothes. Put yourself in a quiet room. Try to silence your phone, get rid of all distractions. Maybe have your family take the pets into the basement, or if they're going to quietly participate, just make sure everybody's ready, has all their supplies, and is ready to start. So the first thing we're going to do, one more thing, is I would suggest, if you'd like, to put on some very quiet, soft music in the background. I don't have any playing right now because I don't want it to interrupt with my cueing to all these poses. So when you are ready, we are going to start. So we're going to sit in a nice, comfortable pose here. Okay, I'm sitting cross-legged. If you want, you could be seated on one of your blocks or your pillows if you feel like you need to be lifted a little bit. But I'm just on my mat, easy cross-legged position here. So we're going to begin with just a little bit of breathing. Okay. So on the inhale, we're going to reach our arms around as if we're hugging a big tree. We're going to round through the neck, tuck the chin into the chest. And on the exhale, we're going to puff out the chest and release that breath. So inhale as we round down, hug that tree. Exhale, open out, puff out the chest, stretching through the collarbones. Let's take a few more of those. So inhale, open mouth, exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Very good. Bringing your hands onto your knees. or onto your thighs or even onto the mat, whatever's comfortable for you. And we're going to just do some torso circling. So as we breathe, we're going to reach forward to the left, back to center, through the right, and forward again. So let's take a couple of these circles in a counterclockwise direction, nice and slow. And as you make the circles, you will notice if your hips are talking to you, maybe one side is tighter than the other. This is going to bring your awareness to what everything is feeling today. One more time around and coming back to center. Let's take it in the opposite direction. So we're going to hinge forward and slowly start circling to the right, coming back just a bit to the left and back to center. Keep circling nice and slow, paying attention to what the shoulders are doing, how the spine feels as you rotate, what each hip feels like. And just warming up through the body. Last rotation and back to center. So for this next stretch, we're going to stretch out through the sides of our necks and our trap area here. So you might want to get off of your pillow or off of your block. Just be seated on the ground, maybe even on your blanket is fine. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, and we're going to crawl our right hand over to the side. And as we do, we're going to tuck our chin and let our left ear fall towards our left shoulder. Okay? So chin is tucked. Keep the right hand crawled out towards the side. Just close your eyes and just breathe into this position here. You're going to feel that nice opening through the right side of your neck, down over the top of your shoulder. If this feels okay to you and you want to stay right here, that's perfectly fine. If you want, you could reach your left hand up and over, and very gently, you're going to just rest your left forearm on top of your head. So my fingertips are just hanging loosely. There's no pulling on the neck, no pulling whatsoever going on. You're just having that little bit of weight from your left forearm resting on top of your head and helping to deepen this stretch. So breathe in. If at any time this becomes uncomfortable, feel free to come on out. Just close your eyes. Send breath to that right side of your neck. A couple more breaths here. On your next breath, if you had your left hand over your head, release it. Slowly bring your head back to center. Maybe you want to turn your head right and left. Some of you may notice a slight dizzy sensation when you come up out of that. That's perfectly normal, but just listen to your body and take it where it wants to go. So one more side. So we're going to take the left fingertips, crawl them out towards the left-hand side. Tuck your chin, and then the right ear goes to the right shoulder. So maybe you're going to stop right here, just closing your eyes and breathing into this. Again, on this side, if you'd like to take it a little deeper, you're going to reach your right arm over, resting the forehead just on top of the head, never pulling. That's a very important part of this position. Keep that chin tucked, right ear to right shoulder, opening up through the left side, sending that breath to the left side of your neck. Feeling the opening. You'll definitely notice which side is tighter here. Breathe nice and slow. Exhaling. The length of the inhale matches the length of the exhale. Take them nice and slow, and if you want to exhale out audibly, feel free to do that. Just a few more breaths here. Taking one more breath and release. Again, if you want to turn your head right and left, maybe roll around, circle the shoulders a little bit, just to kind of get your equilibrium back. So the next position we're going to get into is called thread the needle. So what we do is we start off in a tabletop. I'm going to set up your alignment here. So hands are spread out nice and wide, wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in a straight line with a flat back, and then your knees are directly under your hips. This is tabletop, okay? As you inhale, raise your right arm up as if you're reaching for the sky, and then thread the needle. So the right arm goes under the left armpit as far as you can take it onto the ground, and then slowly start to lower your right shoulder and your right temple to the mat or your blanket. Now, if this is a little deep for you, you can always have your block waiting for you and rest your temple, your right temple, on that block. Left hand is right next to the face on the mat. So feel that your shoulders are stacked. Feel that right arm crawling through and underneath. So take a few breaths here, close your eyes. I'll keep track of the time. We're only going to be in this position for about 30 more seconds. So breathe and settle in. Feel yourself melting into the mat. Feeling that shoulder starting to open up. Always drawing that right arm through underneath you if your body allows you to. On your next inhale, go ahead and pull that right arm back out from underneath you. Maybe reach back up, give it a little stretch, and rest it down on the mat. One more side. So we're going to raise that left arm up towards the ceiling for that initial stretch, and then thread the needle, feeding it through underneath your right arm, bringing your left shoulder and left temple to the mat. Again, maybe this side wants you to use your block and have it there for your temple. Any height of the block would work. So you can have it at its lowest setting, medium setting, whatever works for you. The higher the setting, the more gentler the stretch will be. So just have that left shoulder on the mat, always feeding that left arm through underneath your right arm. Just closing your eyes, just melting into the mat, feeling that left shoulder open up. Just a little longer here. Taking a few more breaths, never holding our breath. The point is to just relax, check out from everything that's going on around you. Just have some quiet time to look inside yourself, see what you're feeling, see what you need to help you relax and unwind. Taking one more breath. Let's go ahead and pull that left arm through and reach it back up towards the sky. Give it a little stretch and rest it back down. One more kind of a counter stretch we're going to do for our shoulders here. So if you had your block, just move it out of the way. And this has us coming down on our belly, okay? So you're on your belly, top of the thighs, top of the feet in the mat. You're going to tee out your arms and rest them on the ground, coming straight out of your shoulder, okay? So what we're going to do first is we're going to bring our left hand right next to our left shoulder and gently roll onto our right side. So right hip, right shoulder. And then you're going to take your left leg and raise it up and over your right leg and just rest the toes on the ground behind you. So if that feels a little too aggressive for you, you can always just take that left leg, bend the knee, rest it on the mat, and just help you open up, turning open towards the right side. We won't be in this position too long. This can be pretty intense for some. It can feel great for others, so it just depends on what your shoulders are doing these days. For me, it feels good if I do take that top leg, cross it over my body, and rest the toes behind me. So my hips are stacked one on top of the other, and I'm feeling that great stretch through the right shoulder. If you're ready to come on out of this, go ahead and roll back onto your belly. So what we do for one side, we do for the other side. So once again, on our belly, arms are teed out, palms facing down, left cheek to the mat. We're going to take our right hand next to our right shoulder and help ourselves roll towards the left. And if it's in your practice for you, you can take that right leg up and over, and the right toes are resting behind us on the ground. If that's too much, then you just bend that right knee, rest it on the mat right in front of your hips. So spend as much time in this pose as you like, or come out of it if you feel like it's a little too aggressive for you. Just breathing in, trying not to tense through the shoulders, trying not to have tension in your neck. Just keep everything loose as you breathe through this. As you take one more breath, slowly start to roll out of it and come up to a seated position. So you can roll your shoulders around. Just see what we've just done in those counter stretches, front and back of your shoulders. So our next pose is going to have us using our bolster pillow. So grab that pillow that you just created for yourself and have it in front of you long ways, okay? And you're going to open your knees out as wide as you can on the mat. You can have a blanket underneath your knees if you need a little more cushion. And then you draw the pillow right into this V that you've just created with your legs. You're going to sit up nice and tall, and then you're going to fold forward onto your bolster. Forearms can be on the mat. You can have your right cheek on the mat, your chin on the mat, or your left cheek on the mat. On the pillow. Left cheek will give you a little bit more of a twist in this position. Actually, coming back and forth on either cheek is a good idea, just to kind of feel the different twist. So once you're settled here, find what's good for your arms. You can always bring them behind you, or you can even crisscross them behind you at your lower back if that feels good for you. So just melt onto your pillow. Take a few breaths here. Close your eyes. I'll be keeping track of the time. This is one of the great positions that honestly I keep a bolster pillow in my room, and sometimes if I'm having a hard time falling asleep, or if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm restless and I can't fall back asleep, I will actually get my bolster pillow out and take that supported child's pose that I just showed you, that you are in right now, and spend about 5 minutes in this pose, and you will be surprised at how it relaxes you and actually helps me get back to sleep. So something to remember, give it a try. Any of these restorative poses that I'm showing you will be great for you to do just before bedtime, especially if you've had a long, stressful day. So you can stay in supported child's pose as long as you like. If you would like to slowly, gently come out, and we're going to move on to the next poses that I have for you, do so very slowly. Take your time, keeping the bolster pillow in this position that we just set it up long ways right in front of you. We're going to come to our right hip. So my right hip is touching the pillow, okay? And I'm going to have my legs at a 90-degree angle. So knees are coming out from the hips, and then I have this 90-degree angle in my shins, okay? So once I'm set up that way, I'm going to turn my whole torso to face the pillow, and once again, come back down on the pillow. So this is what I was talking about, where if you take your left cheek and rest it on the pillow, you'll get a little bit more of an intense stretch. Otherwise, you keep your right cheek on the pillow. So the pillow is completely supporting you. If this doesn't feel right for your knees, you can take your top knee and tuck it behind your lower knee on the mat. So both knees are on the mat or the ground. This is called deer pose. But once you're set up, proper legs, proper arm positioning, once again, just close your eyes, let that pillow support you, and melt into your supported supine twist. As you rest in these restorative poses, try to make a conscious effort to not let your outside thoughts come in and invade your thinking, invade your resting. You want to just keep a clear mind. Maybe take yourself to a peaceful place. What is your happy place? Maybe a beach, a sunny beach. Maybe you're floating in a canoe down a river and you're the only one there. Whatever is a calm, restful, stress-free place for you, that's a good idea to take yourself to that spot as you settle into each and every one of these poses. And just keep going back to that and revisiting it. And just keep all the outside noise out of your brain, because as we know, that will all be waiting for us once we finish a restorative practice. So just take one more breath here. And if you're ready to come out, slowly bring yourself back up to a seated position. I'm going to flip my pillow to the other side of the mat so that I don't turn my back on you. But we're going to do this on the other side now, right? So keeping the pillow long ways, you're going to bring your left hip right up to the pillow, okay? I'm going to stack my knees in that 90-degree position, or you can have the top knee behind the left knee, both knees on the mat for deer pose. So whatever leg positioning works for you. And then we're going to turn our torso right over the pillow and slowly melt forward. Letting the pillow completely support us. Left cheek to the pillow will be less intense of a stretch. If you turn your right cheek to the pillow, you're going to kind of get that S curve, that twist in your torso. You can spend half the time on each cheek, flipping over midway through, whatever works good for you. So these twists are a great way to aid in your digestion. It's kind of a great way to kind of get the organs moving and working together. It's kind of we call it a detox in yoga. Any type of twisting motion is a great way to detox the body and the digestive system. So just a little fun knowledge for you there. So if you had one cheek on the mat, you might want to flip the other cheek to the mat. Take a few breaths this way. See how that feels. Maybe you like one side, the less aggressive side. You could stay that way the whole time. Maybe you want your chin to the pillow. So just always breathing into this, keeping your eyes closed, making this as relaxing as you want it to be, or taking this stretch to the intensity level that you need it to be. Make this your own practice. Each person is going to have their own individualized practice, taking my cues and applying them to their own body. Taking a few more breaths, slowly helping yourself come out of this, and moving the pillow out of the way and grabbing a hold of your strap or your belt that you used. So for this pose, we are going to come down onto our backs. We're going to bend our knees, bringing our feet to the mat. You're going to raise your right leg up, cross your right ankle over your left knee. If you're using an assist with the strap goes behind the left thigh, comes forward, and you're holding one end of the strap in each hand, okay? I'll demonstrate this with the strap first and then without. Then we're going to bring both of our legs up and towards our chest and flex both of our feet. So right ankle is over the left knee, and you're going to feel that nice deep stretch through the outside of the right hip and thigh. If you're not using the strap, you can just loop your hands through your legs, intertwine your fingers behind your left thigh, and then draw both legs closer towards your chest. Always keeping the feet flexed. Okay? The closer to your chest that you draw your legs, the deeper you'll feel this stretch. So if you are somebody that has really tight hips, what you can do is just keep that left foot on the mat, and then take your right hand and help that right knee open out towards the side. That's going to be a very gentle version of this figure 4 reclined stretch. But for those of us who have the flexibility and are looking for a deeper stretch, again, you're going to draw both legs towards your chest, flexing the feet to protect the knees, and holding this maybe for a minute or two. Once you've done that, we're going to take the other side. So the right foot is on the mat with the bent knee, and the left leg goes long and crosses over. So left ankle over right knee. The very gentle version of this stretch would keep you right here, and you would take your left hand and push your left knee out till you feel a little bit of a stretch. If you're taking this deeper, we draw both legs up over the torso. I'm going to interlace my fingers behind my right thigh, draw both legs over my chest, and flex both feet. This is where you can also use the strap behind that right thigh if you can't quite interlace the fingers. Again, a minute, 2 minutes. See what works best for you. When you are ready, you can release your legs. Maybe stretch them out long, kind of bend into both knees. Just get some blood flowing back into them. One more final resting pose I'm going to do for you today. This is going to call for our block, okay? So you're going to take your block. Again, we're on our back. We're starting on our back. Knees are bent, feet are in the mat. We're going to press into our heels and raise our hips up high and slide the block underneath our sacrum. So our sacrum is that nice rectangular flat spot at the base of our back. So you're resting your sacrum on the block. This is a supported bridge. If you actually have a yoga block and you feel you want to take this a little deeper, you raise your hips up and flip that block to the second height, the medium height, okay? That's going to give you a deeper stretch. So you're resting on your block, unclenching your glutes. Your arms are resting at your side, just closing your eyes, staying here as long as you like. After you've spent as much time as you like in your supported bridge, I would like everybody to flip their block to the lowest setting, keeping your hips resting on that block. Palms are facing down onto the mat. We're going to slowly raise one leg at a time up towards the sky. And your legs are just resting. Gravity is just holding them in place over your hips. So you're not pointing the toes, you're not flexing. They're just stacked up high, ankles over wrists over hips. This is called waterfall poses, one of my favorite poses. Because if you close your eyes and just enjoy the silence, pretty soon you're going to start to feel that tingle of blood flow coming away from your feet, kind of cascading down your legs, pooling around your hips, kind of like a waterfall. I would stay here for about 2 minutes. And when you are done with your waterfall pose, you are slowly going to lower one leg at a time, feet onto the mat, raising your hips up and removing that block, placing it off to the side. Staying on your mat here, I'm going to talk you through your final resting pose, which is called our Shavasana. So Shavasana is our corpse pose, our final resting pose. It's called many different things, but it's just a way to close out any practice and just kind of give ourselves that closure, that peaceful resting final act. So we have all these props at our disposal, so I encourage you to use them any way you like. So you can have your pillow long ways on your mat and have your back on the pillow. Tailbone is still on the mat. If you do that, you can take your rolled up blanket and put it under your knees for a little support, okay? And you're just resting back. Arms can be teed out. Arms can be crisscrossed over your chest, or just forearms resting on the mat. If you don't really care for this, you can not use the pillow at all. You can be flat on your back. You can use your blocks as a pillow, or maybe one under your shoulder blades, one under your head. That'll give you a little bit more of an opening through the front of your chest. So I would do lowest setting, highest setting. Tee out my arms. We're just going to open up the whole heart, throat, shoulder area. Just find a position that's comfortable for you. You can cover yourself in your blanket. Just give yourself a good 5 minutes. Maybe turn up the music a little bit. Close your eyes. Take a deep inhale. Exhale all that stale air out. And enjoy your Shavasana, your final resting corpse pose, for a good 5 minutes of peace and quiet before you're ready to return to your routine. So I hope you have enjoyed this 30 minutes of restorative practice, and feel free to come back and practice on your own, pausing the video, taking each pose for as long as you want, fast forwarding through anything that maybe doesn't work for you. That is my restorative practice for today. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy, and namaste.